Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Michael Bisping speaks on the main event coming up this Saturday at UFC 276 and says that Jared Cannonier will do better than most, but Isreal Adesanya will still be the champion of the world when it's all said and done.
I watched Jared Cannonier versus Anderson Silva recently, okay? And you can draw parallels definitely between the styles of Israel and Anderson. Simple, you can. You know what I mean? And I know Israel used to dislike all those comparisons. But right. You can. They're very tall, long, rangy, lanky, fast reflexes, amazing strikers, incredible kickboxers. Okay? And when Jared Cannonier fought Anderson, he was so patient. He walked him down. He checked every single kick. He cut the cage off perfectly. He mirrored him wherever he went. And he waited and he countered Anderson Silva, the counter striker, perfectly. He blocked every kick, as I said. He landed 3 right hands in a row. And then, as we know, stopped the fight with leg kicks. And I don't know whether that's a sign of Anderson getting old or that Jared Cannonier just kicks that hard, because you don't really see a guy like Anderson go down from leg kicks like that. But when I saw that fight, when I watched it again just recently, that made me think, hold on a minute. Hold on. You know, Jared, I think, is going to do better than people expect. So I think it's going to make... he'll be a tough out. He'll be a tough opponent. I think he's going to have some success, and I think it's going to be a close decision. However, I think when it's all said and done, when the smoke settles, Isreal Adesanya will still be the champion of the world.
Talking to Jim Rome, Dana White reveals who Jon Jones will face in his return fight at heavyweight after a 2-year layoff. There has been speculation as to who it will be, and because Francis Ngannou just had knee surgery, Dana gives us an update.
So how close are we to Jon Jones stepping back into the cage again? Do you have a sense of a time frame and an opponent? Anything?
Yeah, Jon Jones is ready to go. We're just waiting for an opponent. It's either going to be Francis, depending on how long his knee is going to take to recover, or Stipe Miocic.
All right, so Dan, if you had to guess, Jones turns 35 next month. He has not fought in more than 2 years. Any idea how he will look if he does fight again?
It's very interesting because I'm a huge believer in ring rust, but for all the negative things you could say about Jon Jones and his personal life and things that have happened, he's the best. He's definitely the best of all time.
Dana White was asked about the status of Nate Diaz and about who he would face in his last fight. He revealed that Nate Diaz did in fact accept the fight with Khamzat Chimaev, but as of yet, they couldn't get the deal done. Let's check it out.
Oh, Dana, of course, Nate Diaz has been making some noise about wanting to fight Jake Paul. You made the point that he's won 1 fight in the last 6 years and went on to say that he probably should fight Jake Paul. Nate tweeted, "Send the release." As you and I have talked about, it's never boring with the Diaz brothers. So how likely is it that we see a fight with Jake Paul and Nate?
Who knows? Listen, he's got 1 more fight with us, and then he can go do whatever he wants to do.
Dan, how would that fight go? If that fight went down, how do you think that fight would go?
The Jake Paul fight?
Yes.
I have no idea. I could care less, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, Dana, you don't care, do you?
No, I don't. I do not. But, like I said, at this point in his career, yeah, I get it. I totally get it.
Do you expect him to honor that contract and fight that one last fight with you?
Oh, absolutely. Listen, these guys always go round and round, but 2 things. The Diaz brothers have always honored their contracts. They always show up. They show up and fight.
Dana then gets asked by Rome about a tweet Khamzat Chimaev sent out to Nate, saying he turned down the fight with him several times.
Dana, did Nate turn down a fight with him? And if so, what was his reason?
This is, did he turn down a fight with him? To be honest with you, right here off the top of my head, this thing is played out back and forth so many different ways. Yes, we tried to make that fight. He wanted the fight, and he didn't want the fight. But Nate Diaz did accept the fight with him.
So why did that not go down?
Who knows? Who knows, man? He's going to end up fighting somebody, and it might even be him. It might even be Khamzat. So we'll see how this whole thing plays out.
I was going to say
that's the problem. All this, BS goes on back and forth on Instagram and social media, and you know what I mean. And that's why I don't play into any of this stuff. And everybody wants to ask me, oh, why did he say this and why is this going on? Listen, if I owe these guys 3 fights a year. If I wasn't honoring my contract, we'd be paying Nate to not fight. So once we get a fight done with him, we'll get it over. He's either going to, I don't know, stick with us, or he's going to go on and fight somebody else after his UFC career. So who knows how this will play out.
On a recent interview with MMA Fighting, Jorge Masvidal blasts Conor McGregor for not wanting to fight him. No, Conor doesn't want the fight. If he did, he'd post something. He'd say something. He'd probably just insult my mom or some relative of mine, or my nation where I come from. He'll say something like that. But he won't say anything about a fight or a fight date. So the Conor thing, he just hopes it goes away because he really doesn't want to fight. He doesn't mention me or say anything obviously. It's the biggest pay-per-view fight in history as far as the UFC goes. I think we'd shatter all numbers, all previous records. But for some reason the guy doesn't want to entertain it. Money doesn't entertain him anymore, make him want to get out of his bed. That's okay, every man has a free will. You do whatever you want, but don't say you're a fighter and don't take cheap shots at me. Especially the things that he's been saying, talking about my legal problems and this and that. We could do it man to man or in the cage, just once and for all, and get paid a handsome reward while doing it. So if this individual doesn't want to do it because he knows what's going to happen, I'm not going to take him and hold him down. I'm going to get in his face, I'm going to break his jaw, and that's not going to look good for his brand. Conor got beat up on the feet, Conor got outstruck. It doesn't sit well with him or his team. But if it did, you'd shortly hear him say something back to this, because everybody's going to be sending him this interview, and what's he going to do? That is my goal, definitely to be back before the end of the year. So we've got to put our ducks in a row to make sure everything is correct. Some things are slightly out of my hand, so I can't say 100% I'll be competing this year, but if it's up to me, 100% I'm competing this year. Isreal Adesanya calls out Sean Strickland for bullying people. He talks about how much he's not a fan of Strickland, and about how he seems to injure more people in sparring than he does in a cage.
Sean Strickland, he's a bad, like literally bad, rotten apple. But I like the guy, he's funny, and he likes to talk well. His stand-up, I've seen him do more damage on YouTube in sparring than in his fights, put it that way. I've seen his sparring footages, and I would never spar with you like that.
Adesanya recently did an interview with Kaio Sports where he was asked who the most overhyped person was right now in the UFC, and not surprisingly, Izzy chose Alex Pereira, the same fighter that owns a kickboxing KO over him. I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira because I'll make him look easy. Yeah, right now, just enjoy the setup fights. Enjoy the setup victories. You know that's overhyped. Francis Ngannou posted an update on Instagram on when he plans to return to the octagon after his recent surgery, and what his relationship is currently with the UFC.
I'm gonna start training wrestling like maybe in 2 to 3 months, according to the doctor. As everything is moving good, and by the time I think we might sort out some situation as far as contract concerned. So I will know if the training will be for a specific fight or not yet. But yeah, speaking of the wish, we are, I assume they are busy this week. The UFC executive, they are busy this week, and because of the pay-per-view fight. So next week we're gonna probably get a sit down and talk a little bit and see where we are going. You know, we have to know, to have a direction, to know where we are going. Yeah. And not being training get me excited about fighting so much. Like, I want to go back to the gym. I want to do everything, you know. The other day, I believe it was Saturday or Sunday, yeah, I was watching this movie on Netflix, Hustle, and that movie was so motivating, so exciting that I, after watched it, I went out, put in my shoes to go run because I was fired up. Then I realized, damn, I can't do it. I can't run outside like right now, you know. So because I have that that need. I have that feeling.
Guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news, and we'll see you in the next video.